What's going on, everybody? It's Dan Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. That kind of came off a little too fast, almost sound like my name is Dan Moonshine. But anyhow, yeah, it's been a fun day thus far. As I'm recording this, it is Sunday afternoon, getting ready to head into work in a little bit. But I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to take it easy today. Going to have a nice Monday, Sunday fun day, and sleep in a little bit, maybe catch up on some Z's, relax, not work out, not do any rehab or anything like that. And then sure enough, I wake up at the same time that I always do, maybe even a couple of minutes earlier. And then I get up and roll out of bed, do all my early morning stuff, flip the phone over and look, and sure enough, it was daylight savings time, so I lost an hour. So I had planned on doing a couple of videos today. That completely got blown out of the water. So I'm going to do this one, and then I'll try to do the other one I had planned another time. But if nothing else, silver linings. I got up, cleaned my kitchen because it was a little messy. Not that you all need to know that, all the mundane details of my life. And then I had some breakfast, and I made a nice meatloaf, which turned out pretty good. So I was kind of happy with that. And now I'll have dinner when I get home tonight, and won't have to worry about what I'm gonna do. I'll just have something here, so it'd be pretty cool. But anyhow, the reason that I'm here today is to talk up this new album, and the album that I'm going to talk up is "The Crawl" by Temple of Void. If you're not familiar with Temple of Void, you should be. It's a Detroit, Michigan four-piece, a quartet. Originally, they were a five-piece. This is their fifth overall album, second on Relapse Records. It's the follow-up to Summoning the Slayer from 2022. This is actually their second album, not only with Relapse, but also as a four-piece. The band itself consists of Mike Erdadi on vocals and guitar, Alex on guitar, Justin Malik on bass, who he joined the band in 2022. He came from another band called Hellmouth, which Alex on is also a guitar player in. Justin actually played drums in that band. They're more like a crossover deal from what I gathered. And Jason Pierce on drums. This is a 7-song, 42-minute album. And yeah, I really I'm not gonna bury the lead here. This is one of my favorite albums I've heard so far this year. It kicks a lot of ass, and I will get into that. Everything from this Travis Wright cover art to the production on it from Kurt Ballou, Brad Boatwright, and Zach Weeks. Those are all the guys that did the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the engineering, all that stuff. Everything about this it's truly polished, and I say that in a good way. Sometimes people kind of bristle at the idea of stuff being polished, but this is it's a very polished, a very mature album. I mean, a lot of people, if you are familiar with Temple of Void, you're a fan of death doom metal, you already know what they bring to the table, but this is something where you can tell that they really stepped up their game a little bit, and not a little bit, a lot. I mean, I shouldn't even say that. It's kind of hyperbolic, but you know what I mean, not trying to sound insulting or anything, but no, they really they you could tell that they really were they've been wood shopping, they've been out touring, and just doing all the things that you do as an artist to improve and to take take your game to that next level, and they've really done that. This album is chock full of delicious HM2 meatiness, searing leads, bellowing deep vocals by Mike. They're really good. The vocals I really enjoy because they don't sacrifice clarity for brutality. What I mean by that is he's got that very deep tone to his growls, but you can still understand the lyrics. Like you can follow along with what he's saying, as opposed to sometimes it's incomprehensible what the vocalist is doing or saying. If there's even any actual lyrics going on, it's just pig squeals and bull farts and things of that nature. But Yeah, steady, powerful drum work. Excellent, what I refer to as bone-in bass, complete with little punky thrash moments, which you hear on a song like "Godless Cynic" right at the beginning, and then slides and scales that add a certain garnish to an already excellent platter. In case you couldn't tell, I was hungry while I was doing all this because lots of food references here. Actually, with lots of steak references. But anyhow, is that enough for you? But yeah, the guitar work is especially great because I really the synergy between Alex and Mike, between all the like the very crushing riffs and the like the higher end like the counterpoint melodies, to be the best way I could describe it. You know, not being a musician, I don't know the technical terms for a lot of what they do. And then the haunting cleans that you get on these, the little, just they permeate the album. The crawl, like the tail end of the outro to the crawl, is probably the best example of that. And then you throw in some synth work throughout the album that gives it this really ethereal vibe to it. And I mean, if this doesn't satisfy your craving for the murky, groovy, and at times majestic, then sticking with the food references, maybe check for a tapeworm. I'm not gonna lie, folks. I'm really annoyed right now. So I paused the recording. Just got to give you the inside, the backstage dealings here at the Hillbilly Hellraiser Enterprises and recording studio. I walked away because my drink here didn't have the same punch that it usually does, and then I realized I didn't put any honey in it. So I paused the video to go do that. Come back here, turn it back on, and this cork sucking camera decided to shut off apparently at some point. And I should have noticed that the stupid light wasn't on, but I didn't because you know me and tech, we're at loggerheads pretty much all the time. So everything I just said did not record. So here we go with take two. And just because this was such an important thing for me. Mm, mm, mm. Ah, delicious. It is the taste of failure. Anyhow, so kind of dive a little bit deeper into the album itself. From the first two tracks, the first two songs that were released as singles, "The Crawl" and "Soul Burn," excuse me, to "Poison Icon" and "Godless Cynic," which I mentioned earlier. The Temple of Void embrace their inner entombed with gusto, as they should, because 90s Swedish death metal is excellent. It's awesome. It's the tits, whatever you want to say. If you don't agree with that statement, you are cursed. But A Dead Issue is another really cool song with the keys that start out in the beginning of the song. It almost kind of lends itself to a bit more of a proggy feel. And I saw, I was watching the Thralls of Metal guys. They did a review on this album, and I checked out a couple of seconds of it, but not too much because I genuinely, I don't like watching reviews of other people because I don't want it to overtly or subliminally, if I could say that word, affect what I'm going to say or the way I'm going to present my opinion on the album. So I only watched a couple of seconds of it. I threw in a comment in their live chat or their chat room just to say, yeah, this album kicked ass. This album smokes. And, but I saw that James G. Philosopher Warrior, I can't remember what his handle is at this point, but he suggested there were some grunge elements to this album, and I would say if there was a case to be made for that, it'd probably be on A Dead Issue. That's probably the closest I could think of a song on here that would have kind of a grungy, almost Soundgarden type feel to it. But yeah, I could see that in a certain respect. Thy Mountain Eternal's another tremendous song. The way it's arranged, it really gives the impression like you close your eyes and visualize internally while listening to the song. You're climbing up a mountain and the struggle getting up this said mountain. And by the time that you get to the lead on the song, it's almost like you're standing at the edge of the cliff, wailing out into the chasm. I mean, it's really, really well done, really stellar stuff. And if you can't tell, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. This one is probably going to be very, very high up for me as far as uh, contenders for albums of the year. I would say, as far as Death Doom stuff that I've heard in the past year, uh, Hooded Menace's Lachrymose Monuments of Obscuration was really good. I think this one might honestly have beat that out a little bit. I'm currently waiting on my actual copy of it from. I did the whole pre-order gimmick with Relapse. I probably should have got one of those kick-ass long sleeves, but I got to be very very judicious with my funds right now, just because of. I think I've said it already before. Physical therapy is not cheap. You know, it's just, and I've had to do a lot of it recently, and just a couple other things. Actually, I'll tell you a fun story at the tail end of this. So I go to my doctor, go get I had an MRI done on my neck, go get the results. He kind of lays out what the future is going to look like for me. And so I go home, and I actually, as luck would have it, or misfortune, would take your pick. Something with my truck was acting up, and so I take it to my mechanic. Uh, and then I take a bus back to my job because I'm allowed to use the company vehicle. So I go take the company vehicle so I can get to my doctor's appointment. So I go do that, take the company vehicle back to my job, drop it off, and I go and I walk home because walking isn't too big of a deal for me. And get home, finally have to get a call from my mechanic. It's time to go pick up your vehicle. So I go walk, and the plan was to go catch a bus, go walk a little bit to one of the bus stops, catch the bus down to where I had to go to see my mechanic, and that was the plan. And I had to get there by a certain time. So I'm walking. I get to the point where I can make the transfer ride with the bus, and I miss the bus. So I have to walk the rest of the way. So it was probably like a 1.25 mile trek that I had to do, which I made in pretty good time, but still, it was walking. I had to walk a lot, and there's a reason for me telling you all this. So I go get my truck. Nothing wrong with the truck, of course, just my paranoia seeping in, and probably just smelling just weird smells that I thought it smelled like. I had a previous vehicle where the thermostat broke on it, and I could smell that same smell, but they told me that there was nothing wrong with my truck, and it was probably from somebody else's vehicle that I was picking it up. So anyhow, get my truck, go home. Uh, had a couple of phone calls with friends and family. This took me out till later in the evening, a little bit later than I normally like to work out. So because I hadn't even worked out for the day. I was up all day, hadn't done anything but travel from this place to that place. So finally go do that. Drank my first C4 in a while, do my workout, get home. Point of all of this babble is that I'm all sweaty. I've been now working out. I've been doing this, that, and the other thing, walking, and I have not drank much water for the day. I barely drank any water for the day. So I finally get all this done, sit down, have my moment, sitting in my favorite chair, even throw a freaking throw blanket on my legs, which is paramount to the story. And next thing you know, my feet started cramping up so much that my toes started gnarling up. I was like, oh crap, oh crap. And it just looked like I had the friggin' bends or something. And it was pretty brutal. So the point of this story is make sure you're drinking plenty of water, folks, if you're going to work out and sweat and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I went and got some Gatorade and drank that. Had a couple other things with, potassium and stuff like that, and to try to avoid all that. But I ended up having to go see my foot doctor, and she tells me that I need prescription insoles, which also are not cheap. So the real point of the story is that I can't really right now. I can't be frivolous with my spending. So I've been very selective of what I've been buying. partially why I've been doing a lot of reviews on a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to. But listen to plenty of new releases. Probably do one of those like info dump new release things where I'll just talk about some of the stuff that I've been listening to as far as new releases go. But yeah, man, just waiting on my copy of this. And yeah, otherwise I've listened to it a ton of times through my Pandora, through this and that, mostly through my Pandora. And yeah, it is it's fantastic. It's definitely it is going to be it's a top contender for album of the year. I think this one's going to be it's we'll see how the year goes, because you know there's always different stuff that comes out that really kind of blows people away, blows me away. Stuff that I said was really excellent at the beginning of the year, I might, I might not think it's as good upon further listens and stuff like that. But no, this is really just fantastic stuff. I mean, I'm a huge Death Doom fan anyway, so it definitely falls in my wheelhouse. But this is a phenomenal album. Uh, I don't know what made Temple of Void switch from a 5-piece to a 4-piece. I don't know if it was the suggestion from the people at Relapse Records. I don't know if this was something where they decided to kind of strip down and streamline the band and the sound and maybe make it more palatable to go on to a larger label to get bigger and better opportunities. But whatever the reason, it works. I think Mike Erdadi and Alex on guitar together is just a fantastic combination. Jason's great on drums. I think part of the problem is that I've actually put notes up today on my computer, so I'm bouncing back and forth. That's why you see the little lighting changes. So I think that's kind of contributing to my camera keeps shutting off. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that finally, because I'm closing out here. But yeah, the band itself they're a force now. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. This is a fantastic album. It's called The Crawl, but please run, don't crawl to go pick this up. It is a phenomenal release. I really think you'll enjoy it. And yeah, man, that's what I got for you. So again, yeah, I'll do I got some other stuff coming up. I've gotten all my notes compiled pretty much. I'm about 95% done with my notes on my Goatwhore album ranking, so that's coming soon. Do a couple more reviews. I got another little kind of neat little thing that I'm going to be doing coming up here that I'm going to try to have released by next week. A couple of other little weird, interesting topics that I wanted to discuss. And yeah, that's what I got for you. And other than that, just trying to stay healthy and trying to stay off of out of hospitals and staying off of a surgeon's table. I'm trying not to get carved up like a holiday ham, particularly with my specific situation. So yeah, that's pretty much that's what's going on in the world of moonshine, of the hillbilly hellraiser. Yeah, man. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. I was thinking to myself if there's anything else to bring up. A couple things. My best friend in the world, one of my best friends in the world, Kevin, Sean Christain, his name is. We were students at Malenko's wrestling. He had his first match back in forever. So the company posted it up online. I'll throw a link in if you want to check it out. But yeah, very, very exciting that somebody who I trained with is still getting to do it to some capacity. Uh, Kind of envious of him, I'm not going to lie. Kind of wish I could be doing it myself, but I don't want to die either. And I don't want to wind up in a chair, going to freaking. I made the joke with the local record shop people that I'll be rolling in like Stephen Hawking and be like, "Excuse me, brother, do you have that new Goatwhore album?" And they didn't know what to make of that, but that's just my humor. I think I used that joke already, but anyhow, it was a good one. So that's what I got for you, everybody. Once again, this is Dan. This has been Moonshine Talking. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I apologize for the little glitches and blips and bleeps. I'll try to, as you can see, I'm throwing in little transition edits to at least make it look like I'm not a total disaster when it comes to producing videos. But I hope everyone has a good one. Take it easy, and as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal, always tuck your chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Keep headbanging and iron slanging. And I will catch you on the next video. Later.